us get started then. In terms of the work I've been doing before we kick off with, the vote and all that good stuff. Been working on some monsters, as is tradition. I've also got some additional stuff on the World Anvil. Been working on stuff that will be placed on the World Anvil probably this coming week. Specifically, I've been working on the Origins for Elderia now, so we have the first one up there now. Like the other Origins, probably should go through balance. I think right now it's fine, though. Another thing of note, a lot of what I've been doing this week has been prep for a campaign. Actually took all the games to run this week on hold, just for this week, so I can prep it, because definitely need that extra time. One of the other things I've been working on, though, is a character sheet update. Let me go and share that. No. Well, yes. Yes. I believe that's what I'm sharing, right? I might be sharing my map tools.
Yep. You're good.
Cool. Okay. It said Red Hand of Doom, and I was a little concerned when I was clicking share, but it said it was also Google. Let me go change Firefox on the stream as well. So here's the character sheet. I believe it's still linked for everyone else to access. It should be the same one. But a lot of what I've been doing has been setting it to automate pretty much everything. So if you select the, let's play a rogue. It'll automatically change to the D8, it'll automatically update your HP. If you change your level to, 16, your HP will automatically increase by the average 5 per level above first. The first level is maximized and doubled because you have the 2 hit dice. So that's a lot of automation I've been working on. What I've been working on in addition to that is if you do choose a class, such as rogue, down here in the features section, as well as some other sections, will automatically update with your class's features. Right now I've only got fighter class features set up and organized, and then I'm going to be working on an array system to automatically transfer it over. But it's a lot of work for this. But it should be pretty good.
Oh heck yeah, this is cutting edge.
That looks a lot
don't
like
know how-
a... No, you can don't worry about it. I gotta say it after.
I don't know how well it'll integrate with Every though. We might need a second simplified sheet from the tech team at some point.
Yeah. From what I recall from Every, a lot of their stuff uses a similar system. I've actually was looking at the code and how they automated some of their features, because they did automate their sheet, where if you chose, like a dwarf, you would automatically gain in the traits and features section of the sheet dark vision and the other dwarf features. So
sweet. If we can make it link seamlessly, then that'll be super useful.
Yeah, that's my thoughts. Obviously, I have, as you can see here, if it has like that little arrow drop down thing, it should automatically update. It should have like a list of options you can choose from. So the point buy calculator works. You can build a character with the point buy, and there you go.
Excellent. What were you saying about it looking like something?
Oh, it's just Ronnie sent me a similar sheet that I used for another character of mine that I can just really quick link because I don't really give a flying crap. But it's similar.
Yeah. Very nice, very nice.
Not quite the same though. This one has spells.
Oh, this one also has a spell tab, but I haven't gone to getting this one automated.
Yeah, this one has spells. Like, I think it's basically every goddamn spell in the game at the moment.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I know.
Terrifying.
Rhyme's been doing a similar thing, I'm pretty sure, with the in-map tool character sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good stuff. I really didn't mean to open Xbox Code. Go away. This is what I've been working on mostly, is this character sheet. It's a lot of coding, but it's getting through it. Another update with the character sheet, I added a new column for individual weight, so you can just put, I have 6 2-pound items and automatically give you the 12. So you don't have to worry about what's, 53 times 7. And just, put it in. And it'll automatically give you your current carry load down here. I added a little weapon thing. I'm not worried about that for the living world. I'm probably going to drop it from the living world, but for the most part, I do somewhat keep an eye on the weight of the item that the player's weapon uses for my own home games. So if someone, has got a strength of 6, and they're like, I want to wield a great maul that weighs 20 pounds, I'm like, you're not using it effectively then. Because that's not a light weapon to lift for someone with noodle arms.
Plus, have you ever actually picked up something that's like 20 pounds and held it for a while? It's not easy.
It's true. So I was like trying to think of what I wanted to add here because I had to add the extra column for individual weight, and I was like, weapon weight, and it's set to automatically update if you change your size. So if you're like, I am large, it'll update automatically. You can also just if you don't want to use the drop down box, you can be like, I have a 15 point buy, and it'll work. If you put something that is not allowed in the drop box, such as I'm trying to buy an 18, it'll give me an error. So it will deny my illegal option.
And I assume just some of the like ASIs and stuff go into mods, or
yeah, the ASIs would go in mods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
One of the things I'm trying to think of is I'm probably gonna have to have a option page so you can use some of the drop downs, because I don't know, I haven't tested this yet, how the array will transfer these things. So they transfer them with the drop down box, then cool, I don't have to worry about it. But if they don't, I'll probably have to have an options tab wherein all of your options can be selected, and then those will appear on this page. Because one of the big things I've been looking at is, you can see right here, fighters have a lot of options that they can choose from.
Yeah.
And then all these are just your subclass choices are open for a subclass choice. So, there's another option there. Not to mention races, which will have options here that could be choose your own. That's going to be,
Good lord.
Yeah. So, it's a thing I've been working on, but right now it still works. You can still use it as a character sheet. It's got some greater functionality than it did before. Doesn't quite have the automated stuff, but for the automatically updating with classes and whatnot. But it's here. Also has all the birth and origins in the Dropbox too. So you can just birth and professions and just choose those. Once I finish the last of the Illyrian origins, I'll have those listed here as well to automatically pop up. But I don't want to finish the Illyria before I get to that. That's a lot of what I've been working on. I'm going to be working on a bunch of monsters today, as I need to do some final prep for my game tonight. So that'll have another big update to the bestiary. But yeah, that's basically what I've been doing this week. Anything people would like to bring up or anything like that?
I got some percentages, or at least initial percentages. They could be changing for children if we decide to go with the option of children are rolled rather than letting players choose, which was a point of slight contention when it was being discussed earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
So I can post that if people want to see it. It's mostly just words right now, though at the bottom of the page there is, in fact, examples.
Let's give it a look.
Love to.
Nope, not that one.
As for the spell library, I know Sophia Phoenix has been doing some solid work on that. I actually have the framework, the update I've been working on. It has all the spell libraries that they added. It automatically adds all. It doesn't have the newest spells I have in the library, like the Conjure Undead, but it's every spell besides the newest new. So it's pretty solid. Good work, very good work. All right, let's look at this.
2 weeks for the downtime mechanics part 1. For the people who missed the meeting,
Oh yeah, let me get a look at that. Yeah, 2 weeks is okay. Yeah. Let's see here. Alright. Let's look over this progeny document. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
The main change from those who are familiar with it in Verum is that it's moving from a D100 system to a D1000, just because it allows for better tweaking with percentages.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it is basically impossible to make a D100 system if you're including grandparent races, which I think is a good addition if we ever actually get to that point. So we need that prepared.
To be fair, when we need it for like goblins and the such, because they don't exactly live
Yeah, goblins,
very
Aarakocra,
long. Yeah.
orcs, short-lived races.
It does also technically come into effect with like tieflings and ASMR, because in NERP system at least they have to declare their base race that isn't one of those two things.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
That is something I didn't actually write down, but
Unprepared, unprofessional.
Now, mostly just this is just an example given for percentages, not necessarily something that is set in stone.
Mhm.
It's probably going to change a bit, which is why it doesn't really include things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the core system's decent enough. Yeah, looking good. As for the random slash choose your offspring, I can see both sides of this argument here in terms of if two players are wanting different races for their child, it can get pretty contentious, wherein a random system will, just put both their hands. We won't have to worry about any of that stuff.
if the parents can't decide, then the court will decide for them.
Exactly. It also is one of those things where player choice is a good thing, but in this case, it might be a good thing that could cause drama that we do not really need to worry about.
Well, there was already a lot of drama in prior years with children, let me fucking tell you.
So, if people are really wanting to try a choose your own ancestry for your children, I mean, we can put up for a vote, but I'm definitely in the boat of a random system is preferable.
If we want drama, add a 1% chance that the child is a completely different race from both parents.
You joke about that, but there is actually technically, in the example given, a 15% chance of that passively. 5% ASMR, 5% Tiefling, 5% Genasi.
Visible dread.
Yeah, those are the plain toast races. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'll make for great RP.
Yes.
It's true.
Though,
interplanar hussy.
Dude, I got so many questions back in like 2019, 2020 of, hey, how did a changeling and a human make an air genasi? What the fuck, dude? Like, reasons, okay?
It's true. Yeah, it's solid starting point for the that. I do think random system would be preferred, but if people have stronger opinions, feel free to let it be known. As for the downtime discussion we had last week, it was last week. There's the vote now. No mic vote. So do keep an eye on that and provide your input there. I'll be voting last. Just keep my vote away from influencing others' votes. So, by the time we meet up to fully determine the results of this, I'll be like, okay, here we go. Here's my opinion. But there it is. All right. Let's see here. What exactly do children accomplish mechanically? Sorry, backup character when big times get make character go bye-bye. Children themselves, they can be used to just, it is things that characters will want just as part of their RP. It's helps make the world feel more alive. But in terms of mechanical standpoint, it is a backup option if time passes and your child suddenly grows up old enough to become an adventurer, and maybe your character, just died, and now that character wants to go avenge their father. So it has mechanical sides to it as well. It could just be RP stuff, but could also be in terms of if you try to work on becoming a noble house or like a faction, it could tie into that heavily too. You could have a family-owned business where your family could run the shop, for example. There's a lot of things that children can play into. Yeah, but progeny inheritance mechanics will need to be looked at.
When you start talking about family-run shops, I start thinking about child labor laws.
When I say that,
keep in mind it's also medieval, so having your kid help out around the bakery, shit fucking happens.
It's true. It's also a lot of farms. They don't care about that. They have their children help out.
I live in a rural farming town. Nobody gives a flying fuck.
Haven't had an industrial revolution yet.
Yep,
Get to work, kids.
It's called, see, it's not called a job. It's called chores.
Yes. Well, to answer your question, Shadow, it is because when people are set in their ways, they are stupid and don't understand that is technically an option.
I think the big issue that had from Verum was that the first child was the only one that really mattered in Verum. Like, the first one was the one that you could continue to be your heir or whatever.
Nope.
That's not really an issue.
So the irony of that is it seems like people thought that is not the case at all.
Really?
Like
that was often spoken as a rule by Arcadum.
Well, he was fucking wrong because that is not how the rules were written at all. Your firstborn in Verum at least was not like, okay, congratulations, they're the first kid you had. They were not like automatically your progeny. You got to pick one.
All right then. But it was just one though. One that was actually
it was only one. Yes.
Okay, so that was probably a big reason for any of those contentious issues then back in the day. Let me continue reading through your blip though. Yeah. I'm still like I do prefer the random roll option, but if the community as a whole believes that the choose option would be better, I'm not against it. That said, if we want to do a mixture wherein if they want to choose, there's no arguments, cool. If there is an argument made, random roll.
Or you can just choose to be random.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes players like the random option. It's, it's fun.
D&D players will forever be pulled back to the Gamba.
It's true.
You're gonna roll for your stats and like it.
I mean, look, man, that is literally described in the PHB as how you're supposed to do it.
It's true.
I wish I was kidding. It's so dumb.
I had a strong urge to have my players roll for stats this campaign, but I decided against it.
What, you mean you don't want to see one player with two 18s, a 16, a 15, and two or three 14s, and then another player with 5 8s and a 12?
See, I'm fine with the 18s. I don't want to have the player with the 8s.
You jest, man. I've been that 5 8s and a 12.
Dude,
Yeah.
I have a friend who used to be a coworker who played through Tomb of Annihilation as a druid, alright? His old man druid died against, I think, Asa Syrik. So he got to the end of the campaign. By level 12, his highest stat was 14.
Oh no.
It was chaos.
Oh,
I
man.
think there always needs to be a random system as a backup. It's mostly just a matter between choose with random backup, or random completely. The latter one is less likely to cause any problems, because if they don't have the option at all, they won't be as likely to think about it.
It's true.
In fact, now that looking back to all of the children I rolled for after things ended, I don't think I had anyone actually complain about it. There were definitely people that were like, "Hey, I definitely want like at least one of this kid, like one kid of this race, just because I want to continue playing this race either as a player or as a civilian." But no one actually complained.
Something to decide at a later point though, it'll be a while.
Yeah, the upside is we can put off progeny and that stuff until at least a little bit after things start off, just because we could just put it off.
I mean, yeah, they're not even going to have children for a bit. So,
Week 1 babies.
yeah, even if they do get pregnant within week 1, it's not gonna do much.
Shotgun marriage.
Even if with a shotgun marriage, okay, you've been knocked up. See you in 9 months.
That said, if someone's playing like Goblin, we might want to look at that. That's for us to decide later.
Nerp.
It's
What
fine.
is the
You
goblin
have nothing to pass down after
gestation
all.
rate?
It's like 3 months, I think. It's not.
God
Yeah.
damn it!
I
Is
have
it
to look.
really?
I have to look at the notes for them, but they breed quickly and they breed a lot.
Damn.
What the
God.
fuck are they
And
just born
today I
for?
learned that
Goblins
has
are big
fun
rabbits,
goblin
yeah.
breeding.
Goblins are just bigger. See, this is why I said screw that. I don't care. Once I became the only person doing marriage stuff, and it's like, nope, it's all 9 months. Don't care. After the 2-month mark, egg-laying races lay eggs, but they don't hatch for another 7. Deal with it.
I mean, that's fair. It's not the best for races that want to live for like 15 years, but it's fair.
Yeah, my dude. Oz married an Aarakocra, and his son was an Aarakocra.
Oh no.
I get it. Statistically speaking, he could have outlived 30 generations of his son's children.
Yeah. Long-lived races are a big ol' rip.
So,
Or actually, the opposite.
with NERP's birth system, though, we also have to account for like, are they royalty? Are they progeny from like money, other things?
It's true. Speaking of birth, though, for characters starting age, my thought is anywhere between the values for your race's adulthood within the range of your class. So, and what I mean by that is, I'm gonna just grab up a race so I can actually see it in front of me. Let's
just go with half elf 20.
Sure. Let's look at half elf. So we see half elves. Their base adulthood says 15 years. That's obviously taking into account medieval age and all that stuff. But in the growth rate and stages, it says intuitive 16 to 21, self-taught 17 to 27, trained 18 to 33. I think baseline, any race that says 15 years, we can pop that up. I can go through them and just pop it up so it says 18, just because they age the same as humans. So I can make it as base 18 instead of 15. And then we'd follow, if someone wants to play a a wizard, for example. Wizards are a trained race, which means that the time it takes to fully gain that class's understanding would be the trained category of age. So they can choose anywhere between, if we do base 18 for half elf, for example, they could choose anywhere between 21 and 36 years as their starting age. So they don't actually have to just be adulthood, hard stop. They can be anywhere with that range. And a majority of races, I'm pretty sure, are like self-taught. So if you want to play like a fighter or something like that, you can choose that. Just be like anywhere between 20 and 30 years. So
I think he's talking more about a minimum
Yeah.
rather than a maximum.
Yeah. We don't want children being played, more or less.
Yeah. They can still play old man. Just minimum is within this range.
The return of the old man fighter. Excellent.
The more hard stance we are on people playing children, the better, because it gets muddled and it's not good.
The only time you can is if they're progeny, and then they can't be in combat. I'm not. Those are the rules. Deal with it.
Yeah. That all said, there are some races that do reach maturity at like 6. I'll probably increase that by a couple of years just because
Aarakocra are adults at age 3.
You know.
Goblins are what?
They live
Goblins
baby.
technically reach adulthood, I think, at like age 1.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's fair. Okay,
yeah. So I'm going to increase some of them by a bit to not just be sexual maturity, which is this is what it essentially means, but to be full on mature for the race in question.
Basically, a 14-year-old compared to a 20-year-old.
Yeah. So I will be going through them, making sure they're properly set up for full maturity rather than just sexual maturity. And I don't mean, like age of consent stuff. I mean,
yes.
Physiologically mature.
Physically
It's
capable of bearing children, but it's
they're
not
adults.
Okay.
They are adults. They're going to be adults. Deal with it.
Exactly.
Full stop. No kids.
As another reminder, remember to read through No Mic Vote. Pick any and all options you are comfortable with. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to ask them in Council General, especially since this is a fairly important topic we'll need to decide on for further developments.
It's true. Yeah, no, that was a thing that I thought of as, starting age. So anywhere within that parentheses range is considered fresh-faced adventurer age. So that would generally be the majority of ages, I imagine. But I'm not against people playing older characters. That said, if they do play an older character, I don't know if we're going to have much in terms of, your character's older, so these are things you'll be dealing with. That could be another discussion we have, but I think it's easier for us to just keep it as is, as if they're playing a brand new character.
Do we still want to use the rules where it's like once you hit, a certain age, you just kind of drop dead?
It's not so much a drop dead. The
force retire.
I would say
a better word.
Characters can play up to venerable. So if you're looking at the half elf, it says venerable at 125 years. Once they hit 125, I would say at that point, I don't want to say they can't adventure, but if they hit venerable, I will be applying age negatives.
Sorry, you're old. Take frickin' you have arthritis. Yeah. Take a -2 to Dex.
I will also say that if you do hit venerable, I will roll for your maximum age, and if you hit that maximum age, we will have a random day chosen in the year, and you will not wake up on that day, and there'll be a funeral probably if your character is well done.
Joke's on you! I'm never going to sleep again.
Yeah. Coffee block.
The fun part comes when people are just going to be hunting down that immortality high.
Well,
Yeah.
no,
Learn to
those are
chug the sleep
options.
potions.
Yeah, no, I mean
Not even
immortality.
potions, just like lichdom and stuff. Which I mean, awesome, but
Hmm.
I mean, more power to you if you want to sever your soul from the thread of life. But
Hmm.
good luck with that.
I mean,
assuming
Also-
they had a soul to begin with.
Also, on the case of age, if you are knocked down past an adult, you are forced retired. Like, wild magic and Letty dropping below
Yeah.
several times.
Yeah, and
yeah,
on another thing on the DM side of things, please try to avoid too many instances of magical aging and magical de-aging.
God, yes, I do not want to juggle that.
Mhm.
We can
Please
maybe
don't.
hold it in the background document, but you are not playing.
We don't even have that in Dolder. Like, that's
yeah.
Please don't
like,
fuck around with that.
Yeah.
Magical aging and de-aging are definitely a higher tier topic.
Mhm.
That all said, I do have some features that can de-age people. Like one of the rituals of immortality I have, it does de-age the character by blood sacrifice. Don't worry about that.
Mhm.
But the ritual
As
of
all
de-aging that has does have a hard stop. If you reach adulthood, you do not gain or you do not lower in age anything past that. So a lot of my rituals will say adulthood is the cap, or the not really the cap, but the floor. So
This is
it keeps that from becoming an issue.
this is an odd question, and I haven't been able to see it. But are there any races that do not have a natural age cap, such as Warforge in some settings, right? Where Warforge, they could technically rust, but that's not something that's impossible to cure or anything
And it's
like
also
that.
not
Whereas
really
body,
age related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the undying races, I mean, they're undead, so they don't really age. If you're playing like a soul fractured, you might decay, where you're like, oh, I can barely walk without losing an arm or a leg or a toe or something. That's specifically soul fractured. I believe Warforged also do not have an age cap. Let me go look at their race page real quick just to make sure. Yeah, they don't have an age cap. Their adulthoods, yes.
I am a robot, okay? But how old are you? 30 cycles. How long to cycle? Yes.
Please insert girder.
Yeah.
Girder.
Yeah, no. Oh no, it does look like some of my undead races have an age cap. Yeah. Yeah. No, Dampiers seem to age at a 50% slower rate than other races, essentially. So their maximum age is increased by 50%.
and that makes sense for some of them, because some of the some of the humanoid undead-ish races are just that, undead-ish, where they're kind of half and half in some cases.
It's true. It is true.
So they still have a little thread of life, and thus have a little thread of getting screwed over by time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just looked at the Revenant. They also have a age listing. I believe I have that in place as a time limit for them to complete their quest.
Man, that old guy that dies and gets turned into a Revenant's going to have a hell of a time.
It's true. It's true.
Turns into a revenant, and quest is to defeat time, just because they got killed via age.
Mm-hmm. All right. Any other questions? Anything people would like to bring up?
Nothing that I can think of personally.
All right.
We did get one more person for training.
Mhm.
I think they already contacted you about stuff.
Oh,
I think that's about it. Oh,
speak,
heck yeah.
Though that does need to be brought up.
yeah. Speaking of that though, they did ask me about Foundry and other VTTs. I'm in the land of we should all be using Map Tool, as everyone, it's free. Everyone can download it and use it. That said, if people really want to use another VTT, I'm not against them using it, but it is on them to teach their players, to prep things for it, to do all the things that we will not be providing resources towards. So I'm not going to have a token library for Foundry-based tokens, for example. If they make their own, then cool.
It will also be on the DM to track everything.
Indeed.
If you do that, because that is more back end stuff that we don't want to add.
Yeah. So
that'll be on the DM.
Yeah.
If you want to break the mold, so to speak, you have to do everything with it.
Yeah. So we will be supporting Map Tool. Any other VTT, if you really want to use it, go ahead. But I'm not going to be putting my efforts to support.
I'll note that down for
said,
something to
resources.
discuss later, but I think we'll limit it for permanent groups, and if they choose to join in any map tool stuff, the DM is responsible for helping the players transition back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That will also bring up the thing that if you are going to do that, you will need to put that in when you announce the game that it is in that,
Indeed.
So that people know ahead of time.
It's true. Yeah. I've also been meaning to look at Foundry myself just to actually run a game with it. But I've not been able to do that just yet. I'm always prepping games and it's, life is.
I played in one last night.
It's fine. I think the biggest issue for something like what we're doing is that there's no way to manage your token outside of the campaign files, and only the
pretty
GM
decent,
has
but
access
it's
to
very
them.
weirdly finicky for stuff like deleting and configuring.
Gotcha.
Also, if you don't clear the role cache or chat log, it just eventually crashes. It becomes a black hole on your hard drive.
Oh no.
That sounds absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, Map Tool can get pretty intensive, but
At least with Map Tool, you can go into the folder, find the cache, and just nuke the bitch.
it's true. You can also, if a map's too big for players, you can be like, we don't need this tree. Which you can do in Foundry, I imagine. But,
Depends on how you did the map, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
It's not as good as map tools for like building maps, but it does have some cool tools you can do with the maps. Like it has a better VBL system for sure.
Yeah, anything is probably a better VBL system than Map Tool.
I will say though, the coding part of map tools for macros has spoiled me for other systems.
That's fair.
To the point where I'm like, I just want to hit one button, hit options over everything else.
Yeah, I've been I pre-macroed all my my players' tokens for tonight's session. I may have been a little intense. It's fine. They have some pretty fancy macros.
One of these.
Go ahead.
One of these days, I'm going to have to just make a token that's hyper flexible, just one button to set up, like
No
every
kill like overkill.
stat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just one macro to set up every like personal stat of the mob, and then one button that's like, hey, what is this? Is this a saving throw? Is this an attack roll? Great.
Yeah.
How much damage is it going to do if it hits them? Cool. Output.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember who made the property management macro, but whoever did, amazing job. Love that macro. It just makes players making their tokens so much easier. They can just click it and do the things that they need to do, rather than like, what can I edit? What can I not edit?
Set property macros are pretty fucking poggers.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
Yep.
Yeah. Whoever made the advanced attack macro creation, also amazing macro. Love that macro. I've updated it heavily for Syrik, so now it applies like the half strength bonus if using a martial weapon to attacks damage. It has a bunch of other options, like a bunch of different damage type options, things of that nature. Speaking of that, I've updated the AoE spell manager, as well as the damage types to include to convert physical damage into bleeding, bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage now. So now it you can actually choose those. Oh, and ballistic. So you can choose those damage types instead of being like, it's physical. And you can individually give people vulnerabilities or resistances or immunities to those damage types now. And some other updates to the framework, but it's still.
Oh yes, speaking of bleeding, we're still doing it requires resistance or immunity to all physical to resist, right?
For bleeding itself, I believe so, yeah. I mean, it is its own damage type, but it is a physical damage type. So if someone is immune to physical damage, yeah,
Or they just don't got no blood.
it's true. If they don't have blood, then they don't care. They're immune. If they're a skelly boy, then they're like, I'm immune to bleed. It's fine.
Yeah, you can't bleed me. My bones don't make marrow.
That said, if they're a bleeding
marrow doesn't
skeleton,
make
that might
bleed.
be a question on if they actually have immunity to bleed.
Does a Warforged bleed blood or oil? That is the question.
I would say probably oil if they are not immune to bleed.
So Warforged are weird. It depends on what type of Warforged they are. If they are a Warforged made from wood, they'll probably bleed sap. If they're a
I
Warforged
asked
made
this
from
because
metal,
bleeding never got cleanly defined in the old one. I'll actually go over more details for a proper define at a later point.
yeah. A metal Warforged will probably be oil. A stone Warforged will probably be some form of
Sand.
sand, some form of liquid or grain-based stone.
Gravel just starts pouring out of them.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh god, oh no, oh fuck, my gravel, no. And everyone's sitting there like, what the fuck is happening?
Yep. But it depends on the type of Warforged for what they bleed.
Can a Warforged bleed? Oh yeah, they can bleed their rocks off.
It's true. In terms of different blood types, and it's not really important, but Fae have blue blood, which includes elf. So if you're playing an elf race, they bleed blue. Undead bleed like a blackish blood. Yeah.
Do fiends have pure black blood in Syrik?
Depends on the fiend.
Okay.
Some might have like acidic blood, so
Yeah, because the reason I'm asking is that would probably affect the color of blood that tieflings and most likely ASMR have, because I assume ASMR would be more gold-ish.
They would, yeah.
Ichor than anything else.
It's true.
Enomorph fiend soon.
Mm-hmm. Fiend blood depends on the fiend, because some might bleed acid blood, so it'd be green. Some might bleed magma. Generally, though, it'd be a black ichor as well. And then celestials would bleed a goldish blood, depending on how pure their celestial form is.
For elementals, refer to Warforged conversation.
Pretty much. Yeah. All right. That was a small side tangent, but anything else people would like to discuss?
The only other thing I can think of would be we need to get the character guide out, but I feel like we should wait for you to finish the character sheet.
Yeah. Definitely want to get that character guide out.
Yeah, outside of that, training's pretty good. I started to grab the 2 people, but that's about it.
Nice.
And I think one has to go to Legacy because it's for a general
General staff?
Nope. General volunteer and creation team, which that's either me or Legacy.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, no. I should be focusing up on the character sheet, getting it fleshed out, as well as getting the World Anvil stuff placed up on there. So getting the gods finished, getting the origins for Eldiria up on there. Slapping down some of the... that was another thing I was working on. I've been working on getting the classes, the other ones that are not on World Anvil, up on World Anvil. Binder's a bitch, by the way. There's way too many vestiges.
That sounds like a personal problem.
It is a personal problem. I made it, sort of. I edited someone else's work for the binder specifically, because they already had a really solid one. Combined it with 3 different binders and smushed them together. But there's a lot of vestiges, and it's pain.
Second, do you mean like a channel that would allow for people to ask questions, like on rulings.
Let's see here.
Oh yeah, okay. I think you are the general volunteer person for training, if I am correct.
Hmm.
Because I don't know the rulings on that one. I just taught the DM people.
You know, having a place for FAC essentially would be good to have too.
Yeah.
I do intend to have on the rolled anvil our just core homebrew rule system, just like a full document of if someone tries to do a weird wacky thing, here's the rule for it.
We could put it under the character creation channel when it starts being used so they can reference it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else people would like to bring up? Let's see what they are typing before I conclude. Oh yeah, definitely. We should get work on that sooner rather than later. My intention is to have all the core stuff we need, so that things players will need to actually make characters, things players will need to properly RP their characters, up and available on World Anvil, as well as if it's relevant on the Discord. And then once that's all covered, we can do the launch, at least the soft RP open launch, and then we can start looking at missions running. Mm-hmm. Yeah, having all the homebrew rules documented in one place would be definitely something we were going to want to have, because I have different folders for all of them. So, another thing I've been looking at doing is for the feats category, putting them on the actual category itself, just a drop-down table of contents for all the feats. So you can just quickly look at, oh, this is what this feat is. This is a brief synopsis of what it does. This is what category it's under. I'm gonna go grab it now, so you don't have to actually go into each individual category and look at things. Yeah, it was requested, and I intended to do it before it was requested, but since it's been requested, I probably will put it higher up on my priority list. But
also,
yeah.
Speaking of those kinds of lines like homebrew and beats, etc., I might be blind, but I'm not able to find anything in those categories that needs work on the Trello. Is there anything that sticks out?
Oh, yeah. Any core feat that is a half feat, so it provides a +1 to a stat, needs to be updated. It needs to remove the half stat and provide additional benefits to fit the same power level as the other feats that we have on the World Anvil.
I want to say Chrono got some when we were talking about it. I think. I know he at least got to Elven accuracy
Oh, nice.
for
Nice.
obvious reasons.
Let's look at their document then, see what they have, see if slap some of them on the World Anvil. Yeah, I've been going through the feats slowly,
I think
but
he did.
you know, I know
we do
some of the community has done, and I've actually put up some of their feature suggestions on World Anvil. You know.
Yes, that's on our list of things we need to look at, because that one got brought up a lot in my game for Syrik.
Yes, there's a double concentration feat.
Yeah.
It's aura empowerment. Lets you concentrate on a normal spell and then one spell that is of your chosen spell school.
I mean, we do have guns. It's just on the other continent.
It's true. You know, with the double concentration, if you are slapped by damage, for example, you'd have to roll a concentration for each spell. So, you know.
Fun times.
Yeah.
Also, I may actually have a couple of things already written up for that kind of thing. Huh.
Very nice.
So yay. I
Convenient.
have an odd adjustment to a resilient thing.
About
Throw them in creation channel.
Yeah, already?
And
Shall do.
And ping us for that one.
Yep.
Because that'll add to the list because we still have stuff to go over.
All right. Cool. Well, in that case, there's no other questions. Nothing to bring up. I'm gonna call the meeting there. Appreciate everyone's faces. Appreciate all the work you've been helping out with and all that good stuff. And gonna